Good morning, everybody. Stop chasing longevity and start chasing legacy. Why on earth? And today we're going to talk about why on earth we define most success as longevity. Why do we do this? We're going to explore why we measure most success of things based on longevity, why it's a trap, and why you shouldn't trap yourself thinking this way. We're also going to explore how we do this, the low-key ways. Good morning, Wyatt. Good morning, Kim. I hope you're doing fantastic. We're going to explore why we do this, and then the subtle ways we paradoxically cause things to last shorter when we try to measure our success of our goals by lasting longer, and then a few things we can do to create more legacy, a few things we can do to create more permanence, because when you chase permanence, you sacrifice it. You lose out on the very things that make you alive. So today we're talking about how to actually make things last longer by not trying to make things last longer. Man, it's crazy being a human. I'm telling you what, the older I get, the crazier it is that I realize it is crazy to be a human. Let's talk about this and more in episode 336 of the Grant Sparks Show. So basically, long story short, we're talking about why the length of success doesn't matter. In our marriages, we measure success of marriages based on how long they lasted. We measure the success of our business ventures based on how long they lasted. We, for some reason, think that the oak tree that's been around 300 years is more successful than the beautiful flower that flowers only once. And we mistake our measurements. We do this in our own lives. We do this for people around us. And today we're going to be talking about how you can get much more depth and fulfillment by reframing your goals a little bit so that your goals aren't just measured based on the length of those goals flourishing, but how you can reframe your goals in a way that truly makes them last beyond you. And therefore, you can feel the success. See, the paradox of goal setting is when you achieve big goals, very rarely do you feel success for long. I remember when I hiked Platyclip Gorge or Table Mountain in Cape Town, South Africa alone. I set a record for myself in that, but I was alone, and the feeling of success was momentary. It took me 4 or 5 hours to make this thing happen, but it was momentary. And this set me on a journey to look for what is it? How do we frame goals in a way that have a much more length of feeling of fulfillment? And we're going to talk about what I found out about that and how to do that today. But before we do anything, you know that if you're here for 3 minutes, 3 seconds, you start with Morning Cup of Gratitude. So if you're here for a second, share in the comments what you're grateful for, because I want to hype you. I see you, Eric. I see you, Philip Williams Poster. I see you, Old Juan Kathy. Todd and Yo, good morning. I hope you're doing fantastic. What are you grateful for? Adam Masters, Sorrentos, Mia Felix, I hope you're doing fantastic. Tell me what you're grateful for, and I want to hype you, and I'm going to start. I am super grateful today. Super grateful, starting with Cup of Gratitude and those on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. I see you. Good morning. What I'm grateful for this morning in my Morning Cup of Gratitude is the mentors and friends and moments that showed me that impact, not just duration, is what makes something meaningful. I am massively grateful for the people in my life who have illustrated a beauty of intensity of moments that made things so much more special than the fact that they, quote unquote, last forever. I'm grateful for that today. What are you grateful for? Tell me in the comments. What are you grateful for today? Because you have to start. If you are hearing this and you are not posting in the comments what you're grateful for, I present for your consideration to change that loop, because this is an opportunity. You don't have many opportunities to express gratitude and to start that engine inside of yourself where you can say, man, I'm grateful for this. And it shifts the entire energy, the entire tone of your day. So what are you grateful for? Take this opportunity. And if you can't, you're either driving and you shouldn't be texting, or you're emotionally constipated and you're not used to just expressing gratitude. So this is your moment. Take that moment. So real quick, how did we get here? Well, I used to measure my goals based on how long they lasted. You know, when I was working in Haiti, I spent a long time in Haiti, a few years anyway, And when it ended, the thing I lamented is that it ended too soon. And it's true. I had big goals for at the time, Marissa and we were planning on moving to Haiti and living that life of adventure. We were willing to. I measured things on how long they lasted. And when it ended, it did end too short. It did end abruptly. It's not that we didn't see the writing on the wall, but it still hurt because it felt like the goal was cut short. How long the company survives, how long the venture in Haiti lasts, how long us living in the Dominican Republic. Marissa and I lived in the Dominican Republic for about a year. And that felt like it got cut short. It did get cut short. We had ambitions that lasted longer. And it felt like a failure. These things felt like they failed for years. How many of your goals did you pursue and even live? You lived out your goal, but it felt like it failed too soon because it ended. This happens all the time. How permanent the success feels for some reason, we equate to success of that goal. But the truth is longevity is not the measure of success. Impact is. And if I had to look back at the time I spent, and this is very moving to me today, if I had to look back at the time I spent in Haiti and the impact we made in the time we were there, it was wildly successful. How many people got to see life in another country? How many Haitians we helped and built relationship and rapport with? When we lived in the Dominican Republic, same story. How many people we actually connected with was huge. And even though it did get cut short too soon, the measure of success, of impact, and impact in our own lives will stay with me forever. When I traveled around the world with Semester at Sea, I was gone for 5 months. And it was huge. It had this huge impact on my life. And when it ended too soon. But when I look back, could I have kept traveling? Sure. And people wonder, well, if you didn't keep living in the Dominican Republic, or if you didn't keep working in Haiti, or if you didn't keep traveling the world, or if you didn't keep going with earthships, we were building earthships for a while. If anyone looks at those things, they will easily say that they were not successful because those things ended. But that is not true. Longevity is not the measure of success. Impact is. And these things had massive impacts in my life, in Marissa's life, in the life of the people we worked with, and the life of the people we exposed to Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and the people that visited us, and the trips that we took, and the school we built for those young kids in Haiti. The impact was huge, and I would say it was wildly successful in hindsight. At the time, it didn't feel like it. At the time, it felt like I failed. Many times, it feels like you fail at your goals if they end, and that is a tragedy because you miss the living. So what's worse is that many things in the world are programmed to trick us into chasing permanence. The thing that I want these relationships to last forever. Or let's say you're trying to, the trend right now is to move out of America. I've already moved out of America and have long since moved back. And now I'm seeing this trend on TikTok, with the Trump administration and all this. People were like fleeing the country, and I get it. I want to too. But now I'm starting to see the trend of all the people who are moving back because it's impermanent, and now they feel like a failure. Instead of saying, man, I really lived that moment, the world, the systems of the world trick us, so to speak, into chasing permanence, eternal brands, eternal relevance. I'm relevant forever. I'm getting likes and follows forever. And it's a trick because everything decays, and we know this. And honestly, the paradox is we chase permanence because we have a deep, deep sense of our own impermanence. And if you're here this morning, it's because something in the world is making you feel very tangibly your own impermanence, which we already know. Life is short, right? So we do, of course, chase things that extend this sense of permanence, that give us a sense that our life will last. But we have to realize everything decays, stars burn out, plants grow and bloom and fade away. These things happen. So the question has to become, when it comes to our goals, that it is not how long a thing lasts, but who will it lift while it lasts? The question has to become not how long the success feelings of our goals last, but how many people it raises up, how many people it inspires, how long it inspires you, how much it changed your memory, your impact in your heart. That's the question that we're going to deal with today. So why do we do this? Why do we fall? Why do we get tricked into believing that success is measured in longevity? I had a great night with friends. I wish this could last forever. I had a great time in high school. I wish this could last forever. Why do we do this? Number one, legacy anxiety. We know that we are very aware of our mortality, as I said. We know that we're temporary. And so we crave symbols. We crave anything. We cling to anything that tells us we're going to last and the party won't end. When we can't control how long we last, we try to control how long our creations last, the things around us, the relationship, the household. Most of our traumas were that something ended too soon. My childhood ended too soon. The security of my home in my hometown ended too soon. The relationships end too soon, they feel like. And so these traumas occur in us. That's why we romanticize forever. That's why we see family names and we want these family names to last forever. That's why we love visiting institutions that have been here for when I'm visiting Florence in December. And I can't wait to see some of these art pieces and some of these buildings that have been around longer than my country. I love the feeling because longevity feels like safety. Safety against what? Safety against the void, the unknown. And many people will numb out their life because they know that we were made to ponder these things, but they'd rather have a shallow experience. So let's go party again. I'm not against partying. Let's go out again with our friends. I'm not against that. Let's go numb ourselves with another series on Netflix. I'm not against that at all. If anyone is around me, they know that I work with Netflix going on in the background because it helps my ADHD. We romanticize this because longevity and permanence of things staves off the feeling of safety, or gives us a feeling of safety against the feeling of nihilism, against the void. Number one, legacy anxiety. Number two, industrial age thinking, period. The longer things, machines, systems, businesses lasted, it was a symbol of permanence, a symbol of security and safety. That's an obvious one. Industrial age thinking makes us feel that way. But then there's also cultural storytelling. The stories we tell ourselves are myths, glorified endurance, happily ever after. They never talk about the fact that Prince Charming grew old and got a pot belly. They never talked about the fact that they would have silent breakfasts for years. It was just happily ever after, forever love, built to last. But these stories don't celebrate renewal. The Ouroboros is a symbol that I wear on my body in the form of the Japanese enso to remind me of beginnings and endings. Renewal. There is beauty in renewal. We should be celebrating renewal. We idolize the oak, as I said earlier, instead of the flower that blooms momentarily. But the flower fulfills its full purpose in a day. It should. And we lose sight of celebrating things, especially in our Western thinking. Eastern thinking tends to make room for these things, but even people in Japan, they're at a rapid clip. Fear of failure. The other reason we do this, if something ends, we assume it failed, and we fear that we will seem like a failure. But what happens if the purpose was complete? As I said about our time in Dominican Republic, or as I said about our time in Haiti, what if the purpose had been fulfilled and it was nature, universe, destiny, God that was moving us on? A startup that exists 3 years and impacts its industry might have done exactly that. A marriage that lasts 5 years or 15 years, but changes. Maybe it fulfilled its purpose. We're addicted to continuation because endings feel like judgment. And other people feel like they're judging us. Endings are often the natural exhale after impact. Think about that. Endings are often nature's exhalation, its out breath. after impact. And the last reason we do this is the control illusion. Longevity gives us the illusion of control. If I can make my career last, I am fighting against the entropy of being alive. If it lasts, we must have done something right. If my marriage lasts, even though we fight, or even though we don't even talk anymore, we don't fight, but we don't talk, we don't have intimacy. Maybe that business is such a difficult thing to keep alive. Maybe that business is staying long after it should be dead. But the duration often makes us feel like we have exerted some control against the void. But duration is often determined by external forces, honestly. Entropy happens. Markets, timing, God, inspiration, distance, things just change. It's not just our effort. It's not just how much we're trying. But when we attempt to make things last longer than maybe they should, it gives us a sense of control and self-worth that we have done the best we could. What's ironic, though, is as we do these things, it's not service that creates, or it's not this control that creates longevity. It's a service orientation that creates longevity that we're seeking. How do we do this? Like, some of the ways we do this are this. We mentioned control, but control backfires. Control strangles the creativity of a thing, a business, the inspiration for a thing. What was once alive now becomes mechanical. And the spirit dies before the structure does. See, to make things last for a while, we have to create structure around it. That's how humans fight back entropy. We fight back entropy by establishing structures of control. And honestly, we have frameworks. I got a framework for you today. But we do this. We build dams to hold back rivers, to fight back erosion. We do marital contracts and agreements and prenups in order to fight back the entropy going on within the relationship itself. We have operating agreements against partners and control people because people come and go, but the structure has to last in our Western thinking. So this is a way that humans mistakenly try to create longevity for themselves, is by structures. We turn gardens into museums, but perfectly arranged, but lifeless. You want to create longevity. If this is the only thing you hear today, you want to create something truly inspired, longevity, and a feeling of success that lasts, go plant a thriving garden instead of building a monument. The monument will finish. You'll look at it and you'll realize it's complete, but there's something unalive about it. The other way we do this is we seek preservation over progress. We idolize how it's always been. The backfire is that innovation freezes. We resist the evolution that could have kept us feeling alive and feeling successful. So the result is that the passion fades, the brand fades, the mission feels stale, the team loses its fire. So the irony is that we lose the very future we're trying to protect. The other way we do this is perfectionism, and these are all actually just different sides of the same thing. We demand that everything be flawless so that it can stand the test of time. And the trick is that perfection delays progress and kills iteration. You're hearing the theme here. So the lesson is this. The more we do this, we're just avoiding because we're afraid that endings confirm our deepest fear. And that is that we are ending. When we avoid renewals, beginnings and endings, when we just seek permanence, we are simply avoiding endings. And by avoiding endings, we cannot experience the full bandwidth, the spectrum of joy and fear. If you do not embrace endings, You cannot reach the next beginning. When we try to make something last, we stop letting it live. When we try to make something last, we stop letting it breathe. Longevity isn't the reward for control. It's the byproduct of meaning. Meaning. Significance. Things last longest when they're allowed to evolve. They're allowed to breathe. They're allowed to serve beyond you. So here's how we're solving it. Here's how I'm trying to change. The real success metric is not longevity, but service. Goals that serve others outlast those goals that only serve ourselves, because their ripple continues through other people, and other people is the only way to obtain meaning and significance. And I don't mean that in a superficial way like likes on social media. I'm talking about seeing a transformation and an impact in other people. So here's two quick principles, and then I'll give you a few quick tips here. Everything is temporary, but transformation is transferable. Everything is temporary, but transformation is transferable. Service multiplies where success stagnates. Succeeding at your goals, especially your selfish goals, are good. Go do them. There's nothing wrong with it. But in the fleeting moments of depression you have after achieving big things, which I have consulted enough people, I have achieved enough of my own things that I know that there's a wave of depression that happens after you achieve a big goal. And that wave of depression is the hollowness of meaning and purpose and pursuit of purpose, because you achieved a thing. Success stagnates, but service multiplies. So my ultimate framing for you is that your goals should be about service. Your pursuits should dispel with the notion of longevity and pursue the notion of impact and meaning in people's lives so that you achieve longevity. Longevity of a sense of feeling. Here's how to do that. Number one, shift your metric, please. Stop measuring by time or trophies. Of course, go gather your trophies. Of course, go spend your time. Of course, but quit measuring your success by these things. Decouple them. Start measuring by transformation. Was I transformed? First and foremost, did I change? How did I change? Second, the people I interfaced with, did we change? Did we elevate? Did we evolve? Write one line describing how your next goal improves someone else's life, not just your own. The second thing, examine your motives. Please examine your motives. Ask yourself, would I still pursue this thing if no one remembered my name? Would you still pursue this thing if no one remembered your name? Oh my God, that hits me today. Would you pursue the path you're pursuing if you can guarantee that no one will remember your name? Chances are your family will go about your business 2 weeks after you die. Chances are people will not even think about where you are or what you did with your life 4 weeks after you pass. In a single 5 years, 10 years, your name is gone. Chances are. So therefore, would you still pursue what you're pursuing? Here's the thing. Go journal. One honest motive. If your motive is ego, refine it. Refine the goal. If your motive is service, amplify it. How can I serve more people so that I can feel fulfilled and know that we, as a species, at least attempted together to make this world better before we dropped out of the race? R, reconnect with who your goals help. You need to reconnect with people. And I'm talking to myself. You need to reconnect with who your goals should be helping. If you are fighting for your niece or your nephew or your kids, if you are fighting for a group of people that are down and out, if you are fighting for single mothers, whatever that is, impact is personal. The more faces you can name in your cause, the more real your goal becomes, the longer it lasts inside of you, the feeling of fulfillment. I will never forget the name of Jean-Marc, ever. One of the few names I still remember for our time in Haiti. Senlis is another name I remember from the people I served in Haiti. Who are these people you served? And if you can name an era in your life where you thought you had wild success, but you cannot name the person there, I challenge you on whether or not that was truly successful. Reconnect with who your goals help, please, because people need connection, deep connection. Write down the first names of 3 people your next goal will directly benefit. Maybe your kids, maybe your spouse, maybe your business partners, maybe strangers across the world. Name them. Know their name. V, validate through action. Validate your goals. Your goals are only valid with action. Service is not theory. Service is traction. Fulfillment. The feeling of success is an action. I heard Brian Tracy say success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The progressive realization of a worthy ideal, that means progress. Progress comes from traction. Go take action today. Take one tangible step this week that adds value to someone's world without asking for anything in return. What happened to service? In the West, it's a dog-eat-dog world. We're trying to keep up with millionaires and billionaires, and therefore we're starting to stomp on the people to the left and right of us, or at least ignore them so that their poverty doesn't get on me, or whatever we're trying to accomplish. I encourage you in the West, please start validating the idea of your goals that are higher than anything as a level of service, and validate that service through action. Serve someone else. Truly serve without low key or high key expecting anything in return. And lastly, expand the ripple effects you're making. When others catch fire, that's legacy. When others are inspired by your actions, that's legacy. This week, teach, post, share one thing this week that can make someone else's path easier. And not just easier for their own attainment, but easier for an attainment that they're doing to help others. The ripple effect. Am I helping others help others? Am I teaching others to teach others? Are we moving this species forward or not? Are we serving people to serve others? Are we leaving a legacy? This is the only chance we have against the entropy that is out of control capitalism. I mean, I'm a capitalist myself in general, but I have to admit things are out of control right now. And the only way is we will never catch up with those at the top, but we can at least lift up those to our left and to our right. So what am I here talking about today? Don't measure your success or your goals based on how long they last. Measure them based on how deeply they serve, how much meaning comes from the thing for you and others that you love, how much impact they make. Because when success becomes service, you stop chasing permanence and start creating purpose. And here's the paradox. You will slip out of Chronos time and slip into Kairos time. You will start feeling eternity inside of yourself. You have to catch that. When your goals shift from a time measurement to a purpose measurement, your brain, it's a mechanism you were wired for. Your brain stops counting the seconds to your doom, and it starts counting the fulfillment of the now. You start living in the middle of the now, and you start living eternal life right now. There's a scripture that says eternal life is upon you. It's nigh you. It's near you. It's on you if you will let it. How do you let it? Quit chasing a measurement of time and start chasing a measurement of quality, of meaning, of purpose in the now. Because these things will come and go. Sometimes loud, sometimes gently. But they're good, even when they end. No matter what you do today, remember the mission. Igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Have a great day.